Several months ago, I said, when it comes to a head-to-head with Mint Mobile, as it stands today, Visible is the better choice. Visible has beaten Mint Mobile and a lot of the other competing MVNOs at their own game. Well, today is a new day, and Visible by Verizon has two serious problems, and one of those is its customer service. So if you were considering a new carrier for your phone service and considering Visible, I would recommend that you watch this first. Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter by warning you about Visible by Verizon's customer service, especially if you travel outside the United States. This is going to be very relevant to you. And the story starts with IMEIs. IMEI stands for International Mobile Equipment Identity, which is essentially a number unique to each individual mobile phone. They are something that all phones have. Most newer phones have two IMEIs to support dual SIM functionality, which basically means you can use more than one physical or electronic SIM card at the same time. Now, if all of that seems confusing to you, don't worry, I've made other videos specifically about SIMs and eSIMs and dual SIMs, so I'll link to those down in the description so you can check it out. But the important point to take away from here is that an IMEI is a unique identifier for your phone. You might have one or two IMEIs, and they are basically like the passport number or the social security number. Basically, they are identity numbers for a particular phone. They're unique to each individual phone. And those IMEIs are what mobile carriers use to identify your phone on their network. Now, there is more to this. There's more to IMEIs. This is just a high-level overview. But for our purposes here, it's basically all you need to know. So don't scream at me in the comments. There's a little bit more to this. But for now, just know that an IMEI is basically an identification number for your phone. So what do IMEIs have to do with Visible? Well, mobile carriers can block your IMEI on their network, so your phone can't use their service. This could happen in the case where you report your phone stolen to your carrier to prevent somebody else from activating it on Verizon, T-Mobile, Visible, whichever your current carrier is. These blacklists are a way to prevent stolen phones from being used on specific mobile networks, and reporting a stolen phone to your carrier is generally good practice. There are a number of sites where you can check your IMEI and see if it's on a general blacklist or a blacklist of a specific carrier. For cases where your phone is blacklisted, to get it off that list, you have to contact the carrier and prove that the phone is rightfully yours. Every carrier has a different way of verifying, but it often entails sending screenshots of your phone and proof of ownership to restore your service. Which brings me back to Visible, who have blocked one of my two IMEIs from their network so that I can't use their service any longer, and this all happened under a very specific set of circumstances, and I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people facing the same issue, and no matter what proof you provide to Visible, they say they can't remove your IMEI from their own blacklist. In my case, it happened twice, under the exact same circumstances, but the first time, about 6 months prior to this, Visible was able to remove my IMEI from their blacklist, but now this second time, seems like they can't. And in both cases, the IMEI block started with international travel. I'm not often in the US. I travel most of the year, but keep a US phone number for the occasional time I need to get an authentication text or use for calls when I am in the States. When I'm abroad, I mainly use local eSIMs and disable my Visible line. And in those rare cases where I need to get an authentication text to that specific number, I go into the Visible app and activate their Global Pass so that I can have mobile service outside of the United States. Global Pass is Visible's international service that runs about $5 a day depending on where you are in the world. They only charge you for the days you make calls or send and receive texts using your Visible line within a 24-hour period. The Visible app lets you enable Global Pass, but it didn't let me disable Global Pass. And that might be because I was outside of the United States or using a VPN, but in either case, I had to get in touch with Verizon's customer service to disable my Global Pass. And in both cases, as soon as they did that, my IMEI got blocked directly by them. So to get in touch with Visible, let me note that they don't have a phone number to call or an email address. You can only really get in touch with them through a live chat. It's very slow, and you're often waiting for more than 5 minutes per response, and most support cases, at least in my experience, take over half an hour for even the simplest requests. The first time when my IMEI got blocked and I got in touch with Visible, they said, "Hey, where did you get the phone?" I said I bought it directly from Apple, and they said, "Get in touch with Apple to make sure that they didn't block your IMEI." I did as they asked. I'm the only owner of the phone. I bought it directly from them, and Apple told me they don't block IMEIs. They then said check with your previous carrier to make sure they haven't blocked your IMEI, which is vague since I use several because I'm traveling all the time, but I did, and they told me my number was not blacklisted. I again provided all of this proof in screenshots directly to Visible Customer Service. I also checked several sites to see if my IMEI was blacklisted, and it's not, except on Verizon's lists. Verizon being the parent company, I got in touch with them. They said it's likely a security block and that I should get in touch with Visible, which I did. And the first time that this happened, after providing all the proof, Visible was able to remove the IMEI block from my account from their network. But now I'm in the exact same circumstance, and the same set of things happened to cause this IMEI block, and for some reason Visible can't or won't remove my IMEI from their network blacklist, so that now it basically has cut off my service. And again, I'm not the only user that this has happened to. After providing proof and more proof, Visible seemed to keep placing the blame elsewhere for their own IMEI block. The IMEI is blacklisted because they flagged my IMEI for being outside of the US and disabling Global Pass. It's frustrating, and it's ultimately going to have me leaving Visible. And in fact, their customer service basically said there's nothing we can do about our own block on your IMEI, so you should just change services. And you might not travel internationally or care about IMEIs and never be in this situation, which is great. But if you do and you have to deal for anything with Visible's customer service, you're going to be in for a rough time. Mint Mobile, for example, who have their own problems, no doubt, at least let you get in touch with someone on the phone to sort out issues. Even an email address for Visible customer service would be useful. They send you responses, but you can't reply back, which means you have to waste your time waiting for a chat window when you could literally be doing anything else. And I could have just left Global Pass on. Maybe I should have learned from 6 months ago, but isn't the point of being able to enable and disable it whenever you want? That's kind of how it's set up. So I feel like I was just using the service as it was intended, and now I can't use their service because they've flagged my IMEI for some reason, and I'm just going to have to switch to another carrier. Which is a shame because Visible has good deals. They have a lot of good features, which if they worked would be great. They have good service and coverage in many parts of the United States. But if you ever have to deal with their customer service, it is simply not worth the hassle. And if you already have Visible when you're traveling abroad, just leave the Global Pass on is what I would recommend, and then use a local eSIM, and then just kind of disable your Visible eSIM when you're abroad, and then maybe just activate it when you need to get that authentication text. I wouldn't bother trying to enable and disable Global Pass because there's a good chance they might block your IMEI, which then blocks your Visible service, and they won't, for whatever reason, remove your IMEI from their own blacklist, and then you have to switch carriers. Let me know if you're using Visible right now, or if you've used them in the past and you've had to interact with their customer service. Let me know what that experience was like down in the comments below. Hopefully this video will help push Visible and Verizon to improve their customer service so that it actually helps customers, and that if they get to a situation where their IMEI gets blocked, or they need to upgrade or downgrade their service, or anything else where they have to deal with customer service, they actually get useful help. And maybe a better way to contact them would also be great. An email address, a phone number, just something like that, or somewhere you can, when your case gets escalated, you can get in touch with somebody directly rather than waiting for a chat window where you don't get much help at all. And for everybody else, take this as a warning. Visible's customer service is absolutely terrible. So you're taking a risk when you switch to Visible. You'll get a pretty good deal right now. They've got good coverage, like I said. They've got a pretty decent feature set, but you've got this elephant in the room, which is their terrible customer service. So you've been warned. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down in the comments section. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll have new videos for you every week, and I'll see you in the next video.